and rain.
Hey everyone, now this is I Need Help Now audio resources, and today I want us to discuss about um, a technique, a cognitive behavioral therapy technique. We call it pie chart. So we are still under cognitive restructuring, where we said that it's the process of you renewing or changing your thinking processes. It is your intention, it is being intentional in ensuring that your mind gets to create and mull over and meditate and think about thoughts that are going to be helpful to your life as an individual and even to your life in relation to other people. So let's say if you're married, after the restructuring, you should be able to improve on harmony, on intimacy, in your relationship or in your marriage. So step number one, um, you first of all you identify the automatic thought that comes to your mind when you're being hard on yourself for something going wrong. I repeat again, if you identify the automatic thought that comes to your mind when you're being hard on yourself for something going wrong. For instance, if you get a bad grade, okay, on a test, you might have one thought: I failed because I'm stupid. So if that's just an example. So if that is the first thought that comes to your mind when you're being hard on yourself after something goes wrong, then you write it down. Also, for example, in a relationship, let's say you have been conversing with a man and the conversation has been so good, the communication has been all right. Then one morning or one time, the guy goes silent. He keeps quiet, and when he keeps quiet, you again turn onto yourself, and you don't apportion blame on him. You apportion blame on yourself, and you're like, I think I'm not attractive enough to keep a man. So that's a statement you make about yourself. Or I think I'm ugly. So if that is what you put in your mind, if that's what comes into your mind, then write that thought. That is step number one. Step number two, you come up with a list of alternative explanations. Come up with a list of alternative explanations, as many as you can think of. Now, for instance, let's say if in the first instance you failed the test, okay, so what do you think is an alternative explanation to why you failed the test, apart from the one that you had mentioned earlier, that you're stupid? The first one could be that the test was difficult. Now, of course, tests are never meant to be easy. So you're not badly off. You're not out of order if you're to suggest that you failed the test because it was difficult. Then number two, you missed several classes. Chances are you missed some classes, so you never attended all the classes, and so that could be an alternative explanation. The other one was you studied the wrong material. Now this is very common. Many of the times where we will concentrate on revising on a particular topics, then what comes in the exam is totally different. It's something we never ever revised or read on. So that could be another reason. The other reason could be the teacher rushed through the material. Now that is very true also, because I remember one of the explanation I used to have when I didn't perform well in mathematics is true. The teacher was quite fast, and for me by then I was a slow learner, so I couldn't catch up with him. And the burden of asking him to explain again, I think at that time I didn't gather enough courage to ask the teacher about that. So that is step number 2. Step number 3, assign each of the explanation you have put in step number 2, assign them a percentage. So for example, the first one that I missed several classes. If you really missed a number of classes, and a considerable number of classes, you can give that one a 50%. However, if the classes you missed are not necessarily important, you might assign a less important. So it depends on you. You can think either 50% if the classes you missed were very important for the test that was brought. You can put a 50%. If it was less, give it a 15 or a less percentage. After going through the list of the alternative explanations, assign percentage to your original automatic thought. Okay, so and then add up the percentages to make sure they add up to 100. If they don't, reassign the percentages until they do. Now finally, step number 4, use the percentages to draw a pie chart. You can do this freehand or use a program like Microsoft Excel to do this one quickly. Now in conclusion, you realize after you've spent a considerable serious time looking at the alternative explanation, you're likely to find that all the alternative explanations you put were actually very justified. They were very logical. Actually, to a greater percentage, they are the reasons why you failed the test. And so at the end of the day, when you compare these alternative explanations vis-a-vis the first appraisal you had made, the first unhelpful appraisal you had made on yourself that you're stupid, you realize that that statement you had made has lost its grip on your life. It has lost its importance. It's no longer that valid the way it was initially. And so once you do that, you know what you've done. You've helped yourself to feel better. Now that's the pie chart technique in dealing with behavioral issues like depression, like anxiety, and stuff like that. Thank you very much, and I'll ask you to take your time and comment below the YouTube, and also comment below on the blog, and just let us interact. Let me know how you have found this exercise, and also below you'll find a link where you'll be able to download this worksheet so that you can do it more practical. Thank you very much.